Shall we? Hello. 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 Yeah, I think we're good. Right. How's everybody doing? How's things? How's life? How's universe? How's your week been? What has everybody been up to? Oops. Been. Right. There we go. Wonderful. How is everybody doing? How's things? How's life? How's yours? How has your week been? My vision's a bit off again, so. Yeah. To those watching on the VOD, hello. How you doing? How's things? I know that there's at least a few of you. I hope your week is going well too. Well, two is a stretch, mine isn't, but I hope your week is going well, full stop. Yeah. I've had a less than ideal day, so I am likely to be a little lower energy than perhaps I normally would, so I have to apologize on that front, but um yeah, I'm not great. I mean, when aren't I? But uh, I've just been um, rejected by another doctor, passed around, dismissed. Yeah, undermined. So I've had a bad day. I will not, in fact, sing a sad song to turn it around. But yeah, I have been doing plenty of development on my peripheral testing tool. It's still probably a little while away because I'm dealing with two semi-complicated, like, uh, calibration steps, basically. That's why I bought a set of what me and my wife lovingly refer to as a set of druggy scales, because it does to 2 decimal places if it turns on. I think it's struggling to calibrate because it's not upright. There we go. It does grams to 2 decimal places, which is useful for me trying to calibrate my force sensor type deal. So this is the stand with one of the PCBs and the screw. Basically, on the end of one of those linear actuators is a force sensor with a little dome glued on the end. So as you push on this, the resistance between those two pins changes, which then the board measures as differing voltage, and then when you put a keyboard in there and the actuator pushes down on the key switch, in theory anyway, this little force sensor should be able to read you the pressure that the switch is pushing back with and give you a nice force curve of the switch. Although it is proving difficult to calibrate, so that's interesting. And then the other one is this other PCB and linear actuator where I have a Hall effect sensor taped to the side, and I've put a magnet on the inside attached to the this movable the shaft that comes out, And so basically, as the shaft moves out, the Hall effect sensor reads the magnetism or magnetic flux of the magnet that's inside here, and as it goes further away, the signal goes down. Again, board reads that. And then, in theory, I have position encoding for the shaft output, so I know how far it has moved. But the magnetic flux is essentially vulnerable to the inverse square law, so the readings that you get from a straight line worth of this is how far the motor has moved it each time, it's actually a curve like that. And so I need to essentially calibrate out that curve. Um, so yeah, we'll see how it goes. I have a few different options. Yeah. How's things with you lot? How has your week been? Because mine has been dreadful. Well, I was saying that if we're doing show and tell with stuff that's just lying around me, I bought was essentially a Dremel, a rotary tool from Lidl. Uh, a Parkside brand one. This thing is amazing. It's USB-C powered. It's remarkably quiet. It has a nice hard carry case and all of the tools in it. As you can see by the fact that it's dusty, I've used it quite a few times. I just stabbed myself with a carbide drill bit. But it's really handy. It's nice. It's got 6 speeds. It's nice and quiet. It's USB. Where is it? USB-C rechargeable. And yeah, it's great. So yeah, if you have the chance to buy, at least the key thing was this was like £9.99 for this entire thing, like the Dremel, the everything, which is kind of ridiculous, but I'm not going to complain. Mm-mm. So yeah, there, don't fall over. Yeah, how is everyone? Or perhaps better question, where is everyone? Sadly, I am here. Wonderful. I was starting to wonder. We'd normally have 2 Simons, an essentialist, um, possibly a Chris. Oh, well, Chris is normally late, but maybe a Chris. Um, but none of them are showing up yet. Amazing. Yeah. How you doing? How's things? I found a prototype 14th gen Intel mobile motherboard for sale. Interesting. Yeah, I was a bit concerned that that they didn't make a 14th gen like they didn't make 14th gen mobile chips, and so that would be a very significant discovery, as in like, that was an unreleased chip you found, but I'm pretty sure they did make 14th gen mobile chips. Um the stuff that's named Ultra. What, the Core Ultra 100 or the Core Ultra 200? Because I'm pretty sure there's both. Internally, they're still counting up. So Core Ultra would be 15. Core Ultra 200 would be 15th gen, right? Oh, funky. Oh, so as a drop-in CPU socket. Ooh. Well, that is funky. Very funky. Well, that's cool. What was also your solder drop-in? You can solder an Alder Lake Raptor Lake chip, and it creates a meteor like uh VGA, right? I mean, I'm not that surprised that they're essentially pin compatible. They are as close to SoCs as Intel gets, and they are the whole point is that they are very, very similar, such that you can, as a laptop manufacturer, or whatever, you just swap a couple of pins around, and hey presto, it all works, right? Like that's kind of the point. Um, I would be interested to know what pins are switched, but yeah, nice, interesting find. I mean, you'd have to Google what Intel C741 is, um, because otherwise I couldn't tell you. I mean, clearly, where is it that you're finding these things? I would assume AliExpress, but or Alibaba, but where where are you looking? Goofish. Okay, can't say I've heard of that one, but fair enough. Um, China only eBay or Facebook Marketplace, basically. Ah, that does make some sense, especially because uh, the gems you find on Facebook Marketplace are quite interesting at times. Um, yeah. Hmm. China seems to have a weird amount of these mobile processors and desktop motherboard kind of things. Well, my understanding is that like gaming cafes are like esports cafes and stuff are a fairly big thing on that side of the world. Um, and my understanding is that gaming cafes often have not necessarily unique requirements, because at the end of the day, they just want the cheapest and best performing PCs they can. But uh, that sort of like putting a mobile chip either with just good integrated graphics or a mobile chip with then a mobile GPU, but on a desktop motherboard, but in a relatively small form factor system, such that nothing is upgradable, but nothing is it's sort of less likely to fail, and therefore more reliable. I think is a more common use case and sort of design requirement and purchase requirement. So that's not too surprising for me to hear. But I could be wrong. I've been writing a another sort of video essay type thing on ARM, and one of the funny things that happened with ARM in between 2020 and 2024 is that the CEO of ARM China basically held the entirety of ARM China hostage for 2 years. Because in China, my understanding is that official documents need to be stamped with a company stamp, like an official. It's equivalent to a like legally binding signature. It's called the company chop, and basically the board of Arm China uh, removed the then CEO Alan Wu in 2020 over conflicts of interest. The then essentially ex-CEO refused to stamp his own dismissal and basically anything else. Tried to have his board hired, replacements fired, hired his own security teams, and even announced that Arm China had divested itself from Arm Holdings, like Limited UK, their parent company or their shared parent company with SoftBank, and had even started like formed their own R&D department, um, which is quite insane. It took them 2 years to get around essentially the bureaucratic process of trying to have him removed. Um, so yeah, they now have two like co-CEOs because two is better than one, and a new company chop has been created. Um, so yeah. And right at the same time, but not necessarily connected, Nvidia tried to buy ARM, and then both the UK and the US governments basically forbade it. So no, they went public instead, and now they're worth $133 billion. Hello Ish. Hey Demo, how's things? I was wondering when all the regulars would show up. I was making scrambly eggs. No worries. Good to have you. Oh. Well, I'm doing terribly. I had another doctor dismiss me again. So, yeah. Fun times. Um, Although apparently I have some hypermobile joints. No, no, as in like undermined me. Said that I don't have the problems I say I do, uh, and even the MRI of my back that shows that the disc at the bottom of my spine has no fluid in it, and is like exactly where all the pain is, and like I have all the symptoms of having impinged nerves on a somewhat regular basis. None of that is real and matters, and I just need to strengthen my back some more because being able to deadlift like 150 kilograms is not strong enough. But yeah, apparently some of my joints are hypermobile, so that's interesting. And to be fair, like I'm currently sitting fully cross-legged with my knees almost at my chest, with not much difficulty, if any. Like I've never had trouble with like, you know, I can bring my knee all the way to my chest with no problem. Apparently that's unusual. So yeah. Um, it was a she-ish, and I specifically said that I don't take painkillers because I don't want to get addicted, and the ones that I can take have too many side effects, so clearly not. Have I tried taking morphine? I used to take tramadol, which is morphine in a pill, sort of. But again, don't want to get addicted. Hello, Joe. How you doing? How's things? Good to have you. I'm terrible, as I've just said. I've been uh, undermined by another rheumatologist. who says that there's nothing wrong with me. Essentialist, I assume it's Cannon Lake, but misspelled. And -y isn't a suffix I'm used to. Isn't Cannon Lake the next gen? No. Is Cannon Lake 300 series? Like Core Ultra 300? Oh, Cannon Lake I think is the... No, that's Lunar Lake. But I suspect that Cannon Lake is the successor to Lunar Lake, if I had to take a guess. Although we're kind of early for Cannon Lake stuff, especially to be like leaking online as well. Joe, not quite, and it's all in your head. It's a you don't have any of the symptoms of inflammation, despite the only thing that helps is anti-inflammatory drugs. And even though we have an MRI showing that your back's... if we'd MRI'd most people in the local area, a lot of them would have the same thing. It's very common and not really a problem, even if it's actively hurting you. Special samples. Well, that is one hell of a busy motherboard. Jesus Christ. To be fair, with how small the package looks, I would hesitate to guess. Wait, LPDR4? That's... Then Cannon Lake must be older. And I must just be forgetting. Is Cannon Lake pre-Meteor Lake? Hello Simon, how you doing? How's things? Cannon Lake is used for one processor and it's 10 nanometer. There you go. I don't know, Eshiman, if they could, you know, turn it up or whatever to help me out, that'd be great. Oh dear. Panther Lake. Alright, yeah. That makes sense. Joe. Simon, how's things doing so much? Well, not amazing. As I said, I have been undermined and dismissed by yet another doctor, specifically another rheumatologist. So I had a bad day today. I didn't get much done. The problem with being autistic is that if you're upset by something, it is very difficult to move on from that feeling and then just like get back to work. So I spent most of the day being quite angry and struggling to really do anything. So yeah. Hopefully tomorrow's better. Yeah. An angry Scotsman? I've never heard of that before. Funny that. Actually, I do have an interesting bit of tech in. I have Virtue XR glasses, which look kind of like Ray-Bans, like just standard sunglasses, but they, one, have electrochromic glass, so you press a button and the lenses basically black out or are semi-dim. But they also have two displays in them. And basically, like as Essential said on the Discord, they're kind of like watching TV in bed kind of glasses. Like it's just a straight like screen mirroring, which is a bit of a weird thing because so it's a USB-C plug. Like it's the only way to use them is via a USB-C plug, which my phone does support, so that's good. Um, and obviously like laptops and stuff I've got to support it. But when you plug the glasses into your phone, it just straight mirrors your screen, which one means if your screen is in vertical mode, you just see like a really tall, really thin image until you can get to a point where you can rotate the screen. So that's fun. Two, you still have to touch the phone screen to interact with it. So you still have to like take off the glasses to look at the phone screen. And like when you plug the thing in, the phone screen doesn't turn off either. So you just have like, let's say you're sitting watching TV, whatever, in bed from your phone screen has to be on, and the cable's quite short, and obviously you still need to be able to control the phone, so the phone's got to be kind of close to you as well. So really, there isn't much difference of an experience. Plus, if you have any sort of eyesight issues, they do have decent controls for focusing, which is nice per eye. But you can't really adjust the interpupillary distance, as far as I'm aware. So I feel cross-eyed trying to watch anything on them. And two, if you have astigmatism, which is what these correct for, you still can't really see anything. So, yeah, it's a bit weird. Uh, it's a bit weird. Um, so yeah. And then if you connect it to a laptop or whatever, it makes a bit more sense. One, because you can turn the laptop screen off, and just use just the displays as your primary display, and also it's less awkward to be like typing and using a mouse on a screen that's here rather than using a phone that you need to be able to look at to know what you're pressing. Um, so yeah, it's just a bit of a weird experience. There's no head tracking or anything like that. Also, it has speakers built into the arms, but they're dog shit. And even weirder, the side that has the power cable must have all of the like processing electronics in it, because the spoke that's on this side gets really, really hot, like uncomfortably hot to touch, kind of hot. And but only that side, not the other. It's weird. So that's going to be next week's video. Oh yeah, I'm having eye surgery next week, so I may or may not stream. I'll let you know how it goes. Like obviously, if you see a notification next week, then I'm gonna try. Hopefully, I'll be on the good painkillers again. But Jesus Christ, that's gonna suck a lot, like a lot, like a lot. So yeah, sometimes I'm doing great. uh, Hello, Simon Down Under. Those things. It's so you can watch your naughty movies in public. Well, the speakers on it are very open, so you'd also need some Bluetooth headphones. And also, why? What? Why? Why? Something you can do. I don't get it. Simon, I don't blame you. I would not be up that early. Yeah. I really want to love AR VR, but since my IOP after 10 minutes becomes unusable, really annoying. As in, like your eye dries out, or please, if you can, explain a little more so that I can understand your situation. And Joe, I don't remember what the Ray-Ban glasses actually look like, or well, I know what Ray-Bans look like, but I don't remember what their smart glasses do. These don't have like cameras or anything. This is literally just for watching stuff, or watching stuff with surroundings. Yeah, I don't know. I will admit that they are pretty bright and relatively sharp, so that's decent. And yeah, it's DisplayPort over USB-C. Yeah. My phone does DisplayPort alt mode, so it works fine. Okay. Yeah, I thought that was the case. Yeah, so these XR glasses, the Virtue Pro, I think is the name, don't have any cameras or anything in them. It's literally just two displays that you like can watch stuff on as a sort of, well, in theory, it's a sort of like home cinema, but on your face rather than like needing a projector or whatever. I don't know. You'll see my review in the coming weeks. I need to finish editing this ARM essay first, and then start on that. I'm also installing a ceiling fan either tomorrow or Saturday. It's just down here behind me. I mean, it's kind of nice. The blades have like a white side and like a wood veneer side, so you can like swap it around depending on. They suggest depending on the season, but I would more think just to fit in your room you can pick. Yeah. The Clearwater Forest chips for the new Xeons are massive. I mean, Xeons are massive. The fact that it's a chiplet is real interesting, though. I just can't imagine watching a movie, something so close to your eyes feels so unnatural. Well, it does. So, in theory, it is. It's effectively like looking at a projected screen that's what was it they said, it's equivalent to a 130-inch display at 3 meters or something, which isn't right. It's like maybe an 80-inch screen at 3 meters, or a 55-inch at 2. But yeah, it doesn't look like it's close to you, if that makes sense. I had detached retina, so I had that fixed with a silicon band or in the back of my eye. The op has weakened the muscles, so it's harder to focus with that eye. I have to focus on different things often. Ah, I see. Okay, fair enough. Well, that's a shame. I hope that there's something you can do to help that over time, but yeah. Hmm. I got up quite early for my horrendous doctor's appointment that was almost an hour late anyway. So I'm quite tired. And I've spent the day not exactly happy, so that's drained me a bit too. Why is there a red dot on my head with the Intel logo? Uh, it's okay, bud, until I've missed every target for the last 27 straight months. Oof. Damn, son. That's great. Good job. Mm. Makes you think how viable those projected contact lens displays could actually be. Just can't wrap my head around any possibility of it. Well, so I saw an interesting thing, which is that uh, a research team was able to display uh, images and specifically colors to, I think it was 6 different people with colors that humans have never before seen. And the way that they did that was with frickin' laser beams and eye tracking. So basically, what they did was they fired the image using pinprick laser beams that targeted not just the eye itself, but individual colored cone cells at the back of the eye, um, and stimulated them at a level that you would not otherwise be able to without that targeting. And so basically, it means that that group of 6 people were able to see colors with that were more vivid than you could otherwise see, with the aim of like obviously just like improving human vision, but potentially like improving people's color blindness, improving people's like vision in general, which is really cool. So I can't say much about contact lens displays, but yeah. I'm sure that the words vibrant, rich, and more green than you could possibly imagine were used. Because the interesting thing is that our eyes have uh, more green cone cells than they do red and blue. Probably because green occurs in nature very, regularly, and so we're kind of used to seeing that. But that means that we generally have better perception of green colors. There's more depth in our green, like visual field, which is also interestingly why camera sensors use a Bayer filter of 2 green essentially photodiodes per pixel for every 1 red and blue subpixel in the camera sensor. Um, so yeah. I all I know about this research is what I have told you. I can theorize how potentially learning how much stimulus is required, mapping the. I think part of it was also just mapping the backs of those people's eyes. Um, so perhaps if you can map that, maybe we can develop contact lenses that have color filters that can improve things, or you know. Something to that effect. I don't know. Um, this is the part where we get into uh, at best theorizing, but realistically none of us are qualified to do that theorizing. So yeah. Um, all this tech, and I got emotional when I first got normal glasses because the trees had individual leaves. Oh. I am fortunate in that I've always had relatively decent sight. Like I, I I can do with glasses, but I can do without them. Like I can read your messages in the chat here without these on. Um, uh, like I when I rode my motorbike, I would ride without the glasses on, and I was still perfectly like road legal. Could still read a number plate at whatever 10 meters or whatever it is, 5 meters. I don't know. Um, so yeah, that was no problem. Um, so yeah, I'm fortunate in that regard. Although, like I said, next Thursday won't be able to see shit out of this one. If I take mine off, everything goes furry and fuzzy and blurry. Yeah, fair. I mean, not fair, obviously, but fair as a coping word. But the downside of glasses is that they keep getting really messy. I I was at an optical express center the other day, and while I was sat in the waiting room, um, I I was being forced to listen to a marketing video they had about like their laser eye surgery, and it was a lady from a ocean plastics charity, like the CEO founder of this ocean plastics charity, who was basically saying like, I got laser eye surgery so that I didn't keep contributing to plastic waste by using contact lenses or glasses. And I thought that was quite funny because of all of the things to you know to be concerned about, um the people's ability to see feels like kind of low on the totem pole, you know? And like forcibly giving people surgery, not that that was what she was implying, she was recommending that if you can spend the starting at £500 per eye um surgery, depending on how serious it is, it goes up to like multiple thousands of pounds per eye. um you, yeah, I don't know. Well, she said, "Oh, replace my glasses every 2 years or whatever, but I never throw them away because I hate to think what that does to the planet, whatever." Um, like, to be clear, I would consider myself an environmentalist. Like, I do care about the planet. I do care about recycling and the immense waste that we as a species create and then don't deal with. Best case, we just bury it. Like, come on. But also, all of the things to be complaining about. Uh, yeah, these are metal frames, and actually, I don't know if these are glass lenses or plastic. I think they're plastic, but still. Yeah, she was saying about plastic frames at very least, and like contact lenses, the single-use plastic of the lens themselves, but also of the packaging they come in and that sort of thing. Um, yeah, yeah. To be fair, I don't think these commodity lenses have been glass for quite a while. Essentialist one, I don't have one of those to even send you. Two, no. Um, Exactly, Sam. But in this one marketing campaign, um, yeah, the video went on for quite a while about how like laser eye surgery is good for the environment. It's just, is this really the argument you're making? Uh, Milton Mowbray. I don't even know who that is, but it sounds funny. Um, yeah. I see. I've never enjoyed a pork pie. Enjoyed being the key word. I've had them. I've just not enjoyed them. Although to be fair, a Scottish delicacy is a macaroni pie, like a pie with macaroni and cheese in it. Yeah, macaroni and cheese in a pie case, like closed. Yeah, yeah, pasta. Yeah, macaroni and cheese pasta, but a sealed pie. A crust all over pie, not just like a puff pastry, you know, like the crust of a puff pastry pie, but yeah, whole way around. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess it's like a pork pie. Yeah. Well, next time you're anywhere near Glasgow, give it a try. What do you think? Personally, Simon, you definitely can. That sounds horrible to me, but each to their own. I don't judge. I mean, I might judge from a distance, but not to your face. I'm being honest about it, right? Fair. No, Greg's. Nah, that's kind of wrong too. Um, I mean, I'm probably going to upset plenty of British people here, but I don't like sausage rolls. I know. Therefore, I'm not sold on Greg's either. I used to have sausage, bean, and cheese melts when I used to work in the car park. And I yum yum. No wonder I put on weight. Walking 15 kilometers a day and you still put on weight. Oh god, what a message. Simon, you can take Greg's. It's fine. You can have that one. I mean, I don't do fast food at all, really, so you can have all of them for all I care. Hmm. Even though there's a McDonald's 5 minute walk that way and a 10 minute walk that way, and a KFC 5 minutes that way as well. No. I'm pretty sure there's a Tim Hortons within an hour's drive of here too. To be fair, I don't know how many Tim Hortons locations there are in the UK, being a Canadian royalty. Um, uh, no, no Burger Kings around here. I mean, maybe in the next town over. Certainly in city centre, but on here. Fair enough. I've never been a fast food connoisseur, so couldn't tell you. My hair's full on it. This is the thing when you grow out long hair. Anytime you run your hands through it, there's just hairs in your hand every time, and they end up everywhere. I doubled my Cyberpunk install with all the mods installed. That's impressive. And you get an RTX card, and all of a sudden you're ray tracing mad, huh? Fair playish. As long as you can afford it. Exactly. What else did you using it for? Fair play, Simon. That kinda is very revealing. I watch. We occasionally watch a UK like police reality show. Traffic cops, and it's always funny when the police officer asks, pull someone over wherever they stop someone, and then say, you know, have have you been in trouble with the police before? And they go, not really, no. And the police officer goes, what do you mean, not really? And they go, oh, I've only been arrested 6 times. Which is a great allegory for Essentialist here with there are no lewd mods. Sorta. Uh, Not my fault if half the clothes mods show all the bits and bobs. Fair enough. Can't say I really get that, but fair enough. Not what I'd really be wanting to see while running around. How about Night City? What is the city in Cyberpunk called? Is it Night City? I know that it's meant to be LA, isn't it? It is Night City, yeah. I was so sure, and then I was suddenly very unsure. I mean, you can get lewd mods for most games these days. It seems to be a topic of choice for some. We knew our local police by first names when we used to go out in the cars. I've only ever been pulled over once and spoken to once on separate occasions. Was being a bit stupid. So. Do people not know there's a whole internet of out there full of Avenue Q? Indeed. Indeed there is. I did mention this at the start, but for those who weren't here, I have been doing a whole load of work on the peripheral testing tool that I've been working on. I have a newly designed cap that's a bit smaller to work with the pressure sensor a bit better, hooked up to a PCB, and then I have what I affectionately refer to as my druggy scales, which go to, turn them on and let it 0. They go to 2 decimal places of grams, which is really useful for then, you know, you put this under the scale, and then as it pushes down, I can get 2 decimal accuracy of grams reported, and compare what this says to what the pressure sensor is doing. It's a bit complicated because it's not really easy. And then I also have a new Hall effect sensor on the side of this this one with a magnet inside it, also hooked up to a board. And then it's in this little jig, so my digital calipers go here, and then as this moves out, the digital caliper reading changes, and then I can write down what it says compared to what the sensor says. The problem with this one in particular, or the Hall effect sensors, is that magnetic force is also affected by the inverse square rule. So the magnetic flux, the difference between the sort of 0 position and, you know, a millimeter further away is quite dramatic, but then the difference at, you know, 8 millimeters to 10 millimeters is basically nothing in terms of the reading. So I basically need to correct for that curve. And so, yeah, got a few different ways I might do that, but yeah. Opinion on DLSS frame generation? I think it ain't bad at all. It depends on the game. For something like Cyberpunk, sure. It does add latency, but the counter of essentially doubling your frames, no, maybe it's worth it. All depends on the experience for you, really. Because with all the will in the world, it doesn't really matter what benchmarks and, you know, in-depth comparisons say. If you turn it on and it looks better, be that because it's smoother, be that because, you know, with DLSS it's sharper, who cares if when you analyze frame by frame there's a bit more noise or jittering in shadows or something? If you don't notice that, who am I or anyone to tell you that that is a bad setting and you're wrong for using it? Obviously, if on the whole, basically everyone agrees that if you turn that setting on, the game looks like shit, yeah, fair enough. But if you're enjoying playing a game with a particular setting, even if it is an unpopular setting, who am I to care? Hello, Tammy. YouTube has decided I should watch everything at 144p. Wonderful. I hope you enjoy the 3 pixels that make up my face. I heard Jeff from Craft Computing talking about running newer and older GPUs in the same system. Let the newer GPUs render the frames, and the older GPU can add frames. So it's hardware frame gen. That sounds like SLI with extra steps, though. Also, like, regardless of what card is doing the frame generation, it's you still run into the problem of latency, because the whole thing with frame generation is that you have to render. It has to know what the current and the next frame look like to be able to draw however many intermediary frames. Um, and so you still add latency. Hypothetically, if you could be running the frame generation in parallel, maybe there's a slight latency advantage, but also still kind of isn't, because regardless, you're still talking about you have to have had the current and next frame ready to be able to draw the intermediary frame. And even if you're able to draw the intermediary frame uh, while the graphics card is drawing the next frame or the next frame, whatever, it's still eh. And the graphics card would still have to handle passing frames up from the other card to the frame buffer, because you can't have two displays, two outputs hooked up to the same input on a monitor. Yeah, one of the problems ish with SLI, in fact, the biggest problem with SLI was jittering, where it would render alternate frames, but because they would render at slightly different speeds and times, you would get jittery movement. And I'm sure, like, technically that would be better if you're doing frame generation, because you're not actually rendering. You would be given both frames to render between. But yeah, I don't know. Again, sounds like SLI with extra steps. Jeff was talking about open source FSR implementation in lossless scaling. Fair enough. Uh, right. Um, I'm really tired. Uh, so I think I'm gonna bugger off. Like I said, I may or may not stream next week because I'm having eye surgery next Thursday morning at 7 a.m. So bear with me. If you see a notification saying I'm going live, then I'm clearly on the good pain meds and I'm gonna give it a go. If I if you don't see one, then I'll see you the week after. Um, but yeah, otherwise, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Hope you all stay safe. Hope you all have fun. And yeah, I'm gonna go to bed. Right. Catch you next week.